Sir.
I'm good, guys. Yeah, I am. It's exciting time of year for a lot of reasons, and the Bears are putting it over the top. I love what's going on. I think it's evident, number one, that they have truly bought into play the game until the last play.
Yeah.
That's better.
Right, they've been into a lot of situations where
we've seen them lose games like that. We haven't seen them win a
100%,
lot like
100%.
that. And that was a hell of a finish to the game.
if you give great effort, if you truly give great effort till the final whistle of the game, good things happen. It's crazy to say that because players hear that and fans hear that and they say, "Oh, that's too simple." Well, it sounds that way, but it's valid. It truly is.
You did a great job on the marquee post-game show, capturing the excitement and reacting in real time. I think that was euphoric with reaction. And now you got 5 victories, but they still come against teams that have a combined record of 12-31-1. What do you say to people who say, "Yeah, it's great the Bears have 5 victories, but look at the opponents," and that will temper their enthusiasm? Does it temper yours?
No, I mean that's what you just said is real. We can't say, "Oh no," I mean the teams they played were all Super Bowl contenders. We get that, but you know what? When you got a first-year head coach and you got a new offensive system and a new defensive system, it takes time. And in most cases, you lose close games, and it's because the guys are still working through some of the adjustments and some of the coaching things and player things, where the Bears, they've been finding ways to win those games, and that's all part of it. Guys, trust me, when I remember the year we went to the Super Bowl. I mean, we're getting ready to play Denver out there, Elway and those guys, and they were Super Bowl contenders, and he pulls his hamstring Thursday. So we play their backup quarterback. So some of the things that are happening for the Bears, that is all part. If you go back to that '85 Bears team, I mean it.
But you got to take advantage of the breaks.
Yeah, absolutely, and the Bears have done that. So it's exciting. It truly is. What's going to happen this week and how they're going to find a way. That's kind of the mentality I have. Yep.
And, it's fascinating, I think, to look at the way they've been losing players, particularly at the end position. Shamir Turner goes down last week with an ACL, and then this week it's Dayo Adengbo with the Achilles. You lost Dominique Robinson a week ago to a high ankle sprain, which is a long-term kind of injury. It's longer than a month. And you're lucky to have brought Austin Booker back, and you got to play out of him in that game, which was great. But you look at everything going on, and you wonder, today at 3 o'clock, this is a team that's down its best players in the secondary right now, and it's a team that is obviously somehow struggling its way through ends. These are not ideal positions to lose. Again, I'm not sure there's enough time to gather, understand, and be able to make monster moves at the trade deadline. But there could be a move or two on defense today that would perhaps help them if indeed they can move that quickly and get it done.
No, what you're saying is all true. I mean, the positions you're losing are, we call them closers. When you have a lead, and the other team's going to throw it, and they know that they have to throw it. You want those pass rushers, and you need those corners. I mean, that's what it comes down to in most cases. So I get that part of it. I don't know. I mean, the Bears at this point, it comes down to this. And I know Ben Johnson said it. Ryan Poles, they got to sit down and they say, okay, is how close are we? Do we want to try? Now, if you can get a Trey Henderson or somebody like that, please take him, right?
Yeah.
Or the guy out at the Raiders. I mean, maybe,
Max Crosby.
Right? I mean,
Myles Garrett is very unhappy.
I'd take a guy like that. Whether I take a backup guy to come in. Now, people don't like it. Booker's been my guy since we drafted him out of Kansas.
Yeah.
I studied this guy. That's the type of guys that I always wanted.
How is he against the run, Dave?
Average.
Yeah.
Average. But he's a situation player right now. He's a situation player. We talk about the opening statement I said about giving effort. Half of his sacks. And if you study pass rushers, okay, and study them close. Probably 25% of their sacks, the great ones, the Hall of Famers I'm talking about, are technique. I gave a great grab and pull or a great up and over or spit, whatever it is.
Well,
75% of them are effort. This guy gives effort like nobody on that roster.
that he
Don't you agree?
dominated
Don't you agree?
Orlando Brown,
Well, yeah.
the son of Zeus, to throw that guy is a big man, and to
Leverage.
to just exactly
leverage
to
and
use your
intensity.
leverage
He's done
and
that.
sack that
He's
guy.
done it as a rookie in preseason games.
Yes.
The guy makes plays, and the other guy that I was, not to get off track, but I got to say it because I've been beating his drum, and you guys look at me out of the corner of my eye. Well, when they drafted Kyle Monange out of Rutgers, I was saying
he had a great game.
You were on that early, Dave.
I was on the. I did not expect him to average 7 yards a carry. Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, because I did say that, this guy in the Big Ten going against best defenses in the country in college. This guy was at the top of the Big Ten rushers every year he played. He's smart. He's tough. But the guy really, he even surpassed my wishes of what he might do in that game. And Ben started getting confidence on him. Did you notice he gave him the ball in the outside zone? It was all inside. Then he gave him the ball in the outside zone. Then he tossed him the ball one time.
Yes, he
Let him
did.
get
And
outside.
got him on the
Make
edge.
some reads.
And that said to me
It's
that
impressive.
Ben was feeling it. He knew that this kid was doing it. And
When he said in August he trusted him, you knew that he trusted him.
Right, exactly.
I mean, one of the big topics of conversation after the game in Baltimore was the penalties, and the Bears wound up with 7 penalties for 43 yards. A couple of them were not run off, and as opposed to the Bengals with 7 penalties for 49 yards. Is that better? I mean, they had.
That's better than 10. 7's
It's better
less than
than
10.
11.
Okay, or
But
11 or 12.
But I'm wondering
Yes.
how
Yes, it's
good
better.
is that? Is that
Well, no. I mean, you want it to be totally clean, but you asked me if it's better. It is better.
That's
okay?
better. So you feel like they checked that box?
I think they checked
They
that
got
box.
3 takeaways as opposed to 1. None.
Think of this, guys. We in the 5 wins,
3 or more.
Bears have had 18 takeaways,
Right.
and we've only given it away twice.
Yeah.
And we've scored. So
That's a
19
remarkable.
total takeaways on the year, plus 13, I believe.
That's plus 16 turnover margin, and we scored. Here's a real key: a lot of teams get the turnover, and then it's 3-and-out, or they don't make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
We scored 46 points off of turnovers. So
Ben Johnson gave a glimpse of his thinking on that. He believes in momentum. And when he has the momentum after a turnover, he's more aggressive with the play call. One of their flea flickers came after they got the takeaway.
Yes,
I think you see sudden change situations. Coaches that are offensive-minded play callers that they try to take advantage and pounce.
You know what's funny, and you played the position, Dave. But the whole philosophy. I used to drill the defense. They would be on the
Sudden
side.
change?
They would be on the sideline. Think about this now, and they would be tired of being in practice. And I would say, sudden change, defense back out.
Right.
And then you talk to them afterwards, and when they run on the field, you're not going to run a play, but you say, okay, what are you thinking? I can't believe, what are we, you know what I'm saying? What's your
You're
mindset?
deflated.
Right. What is your
You're
mindset?
tired.
Oh, this is the second turn. This is the third turnover. Flacco, all he does is turn the ball over. We knew that. What's your mindset? So you go out there, and if you're thinking that way defensively, now you come back to what Ben does. And the reason you do that as a coach is you're saying, hey, get ready. They're going to do something unusual. They're going to catch us off guard if we're not ready. So
That's why good defenses play well after sudden changes, because they never let their guard down.
exactly right. Exactly
And,
right.
and after sudden change is when you use one of those trick plays or you
Sure,
do something.
absolutely.
And they tried that, only there wasn't the play down the field. They ended up throwing. That was one of the receptions that Caleb had in that
and he
game.
made some room. Got a 20-yard
Yeah,
gain.
yeah.
Dave, back to coaching, because I think a big moment on the biggest play of the game. Colston Loveland finds the seam between the two safeties and behind the linebacker. And Ben Johnson said this about saying he was hunting that coverage. Caleb Williams put the ball exactly where he needed to be. the only spot he really could. What did it mean hunting the coverage, and how did you see that play unfold?
Well, it's number one, hunting the coverage. He's looking at the big picture. Okay, the odds of them throwing a touchdown pass are nil. Okay, let's be real, are pretty tight. But could they try to pick up 15, 20 yards on a big out pattern?
That's what they were looking for on hunting the coverage.
So the coverage, they're expecting the corners to be playing aggressively and the two safeties to be on top. He actually told Caleb on the sideline to what your point is, David. He said, be alert for cover two. And that's a normal coverage. Unless you're going to go to a all-out prevent and put an extra defensive back in or two and take a lineman out, cover two is a pass defense coverage.
Yeah,
So he says, be alert for this. Now, here's the part that was pretty nice. So they line up in trips, in three players on one side.
Yes.
And Rome Odunze motions across the formation. Well, when you line up in trips, that's a different adjustment and coverage as when there's three guys there as compared to when it's 2 by 2, if you follow me.
Yes.
So they line up 3 by 1 with just more on the backside. They motion Rome across the formation. Now the defense has to do what? They have to make an adjustment. They got to make a check because it was 3 receivers. Now it's 3 by 1. Now it's 2 by 2. So we're going to check the coverage, which now is more thinking, more movement, just, not sitting in there settled. And then on that coverage, they ran 2 guys to the corners, okay, the 2 outside guys to the corners, which tied up the corners. So the safety now is being spread. Those guys are wide. They're staying over top of everything.
Yes.
And here comes, and you got to get behind the tight ends, but not too deep to the safety. Colson, Caleb hit him in the perfect spot.
He also ran the right depth.
But he hit it. Yeah, he ran the perfect route, and you're correct about that, David. But that was designed to get them in field goal range, which it did. Then they didn't make a tackle.
Yep.
And then he breaks they were in a position
to
kick
throw.
the game-winning field goal, knowing that's what they were after, only that team was so god-awful in terms of being able to tackle.
Right.
They bounced off them.
That was a point of emphasis, apparently, going in, though. They knew they could break some tackles from that secondary because they tackled
that is
so poorly.
happening a lot.
Let me double down on the point you said, looking for the coverage. Ben also, on the play that they labeled hot potato, on the double, triple reverse, Caleb catching the touchdown, okay? Caleb pitching it to Rome pitching it to DJ throwing the pass. They labeled that, it was called hot potato, but Ben made the comment that he was hunting the coverage. That play doesn't work if it's zone. If it's zone, when all these guys start going across the field, guess what? The defense is, you played it, David. The defense stays on their side of the field.
Yeah.
You're not going anywhere. Now Caleb releases, and guess what? There should have been a defensive stand there. Now, if you're in man coverage, which they were, now guys start moving.
Because
and you
man coverage doesn't account for the quarterback.
Exactly.
That's why flea flickers are thrown back to the quarterback.
Yeah.
Because in man coverage, you get a defense in the wrong coverage, and you exploit that because nobody's got them.
But yeah, exactly. But the point was, Ben was hunting. He made that comment in his press conference right after he did, or Caleb, or somebody did.
Yeah,
Ron Wander,
he did.
Somebody said that he was hunting that coverage man coverage for that play.
Yep.
2 deep coverage for the Colson touchdown. So that's really it's good. It's good film study. You put a play in that defeats that defense, and now you just hope that you're playing the percentages that's what they're going to be in.
The play before that is one where the end got through immediately past Theo Benedette, and Caleb runs for a first down. That was a great performance by him to set up the next play because you're out of time, and he managed to get down and do exactly what he needed to get done.
Absolutely. Two points. One on Caleb. You mentioned Caleb. I mean, Bear fans should be really excited. Go back to even last year when it was, who knows what they were doing on offense. Things were changing. every time that we were in a position, for the most part, in one-score games, Caleb almost, in my humble opinion, he strives when the game's on the line and he's got to make plays with his arm, with his feet. This kid, he is ice. Then he is
amazing.
He is really, really outstanding in those situations, and that's what separates the great quarterbacks. We've said this since we've been here. The other thing too, I love Ben Johnson's balanced. Guys, 30, I think it was 37 runs, 37 passes, something like that. Our offense is balanced, which puts a lot of stress on the defense. And what the hell was the third point? Oh, Theo. You mentioned Theo. I wanted to get this on because when he ran that guy up into the guys,
out of bounds.
Let me just say this, and I don't know the offensive line coach that well. When Tony Wise was on the show here 2 weeks ago, him and Tony are very good friends going way back to the Cowboy days when he was getting started coaching. They got the same mentality. Theo's our left tackle because of that play. I guarantee you, offensive line coaches that are tough guys and want to run the ball, they love that. That's worth, it's immeasurable what they think.
You know
of
what it's worth?
like
It's worth playing him in spite of the fact that he's not a polished pass protector yet.
Yes, it is.
So you're probably going to lean in that direction because you want to establish the run, and he helps you do that more than right now Braxton Jones does.
Yes, exactly. And you got to give him some help now. If they're coming up and they're playing the Myles Garrett, or I don't know who the Giants have this week at
Thibodeau
lined up on him, you're probably going to have to give him some help.
Yeah.
But who else? I mean, Ozzy's the same way. Braxton Jones is about, it's not that big of a difference.
Right.
And if you got a guy that's going to be an athlete and try to crush people, he's my guy.
Get used to it because the Giants come in giving up more average yards per carry defensively than the Bengals.
That's hard to believe, isn't it?
Yes, they're dead last. The Bengals give up 5.5. I think the Giants give up 5.6. So this is going to be an opportunity and an invitation for Ben Johnson to, again, establish the run, get Monungai going, maybe give DeAndre Swift a little bit of a breather or a break to get fully healthy, and then use the play action, use the running game to set up the play action passing game and get another day of efficiency out of Caleb Williams.
Yeah, and those catches, we got to say this too. I mean, those catches that those receivers made for the Bengals, Higgins primarily, guys, they were great catches. You got to look at a defense this way, from a coach's perspective. If a guy is wide open running down the field, I'm going to my defensive coordinator and saying, either the players don't understand the scheme or the scheme ain't worth a damn. But when we're draped on guys and their guy jumps higher than our guy, now you're talking ability. It's not the scheme or anything. So that's you got to get hats off to Cincinnati. I mean, those guys made some great catches.
Why do you think that a guy like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, C.D. Gardner-Johnson, was able to get signed on Tuesday and make an impact on Sunday with a sack, a tackle for a loss, and he was really all over the place with 6 tackles?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that. He does have some background with Dennis Allen, but that's years ago. Things change, I mean, the guy did his homework. Let's give him some credit. You just don't come in and do that. I mean, you're not drawing that up on the sidelines in the dirt, as we say. So give him a little bit of credit that Dennis said, hey, these are the situations I'm going to put you in. You have to be accountable. If we call your number, nickel blitz or whatever the call might be, you got to know exactly what your responsibility is. So I'm going to give him some credit, and Dennis Allen for keeping it manageable for a new guy coming in.
We got some breaking news on the score. Breaking news on the score brought to you by Wildfire. Join Wildfire Restaurants as they celebrate 30 years of serving delicious food and creating memories. Breaking news, left-handed starter Shota Imanaga is a free agent. According to Jesse Rogers, the team rejected their option to extend his contract to a 5th year, and that triggers the ability to exercise a $15 million player option for 2026. He declined that as well. So Shota is going from the Cubs. Very interesting. We'll get into that soon.
Yep.
Dave, as we look at where the Bears are at 5-3, you heard Ben Johnson say they're in the mix in the division.
Yep.
Do you believe that?
Absolutely.
because all it matters is just mathematically they're in the division. It doesn't matter if previous years have been difficult in terms of beating teams in the division.
All that I would say there is it's going to be for the first time in a while, it's going to be a real exciting December for Bears fans. It truly is. I mean, I think this division and maybe playoff, I mean, who knows, there could be 2-3 teams go out of our division. I think it's going to come down to the last 2 weeks of the season, maybe the last week of the season, honestly. I mean, who would have ever dreamed? I mean, I'm glad I'm not a big betting man. I would have gotten crushed on Green Bay. And how about Detroit?
Well, the Lions, too. Yeah.
David, coming off a bye, Mully,
yes.
Playing at home. J.J. McCarthy, his third start ever, and they whip you at home. I mean, the division, it's amazing. I mean, it's
those results were very surprising.
Shocking.
Yeah, shocking's the right word. Yeah.
Yeah, you're Matt LaFleur, and you lose that game, and you have a team that, when they got Micah Parsons, there were a lot of people, present company included, that thought that stamped them as one of the best teams, if not the best, in the NFC. You lose a game like that, and it brings doubt about a lot of things. And I don't know if it woke them up or whatever, but that was shocking.
It was shocking. Yeah, I don't know where you go from there. I really don't. Go back to the run game. That's what you do. I mean, if your quarterback makes you nervous, you got to go back to the run game with what's his name, Jacob, right? I mean, that's the guy.
Josh Jacobs, yeah.
Josh Jacobs.
So back to the Bears. You are Ben Johnson. You see what happened with the special teams on Sunday. You vow to get more involved. What does that mean? What does it mean when a head coach says, I need to get more involved in special teams?
I don't, obviously there's only so many hours in the day, and Ben's calling the play, so he's with the offense. I think in the morning, generally the way it happens, quarterbacks are in first. They're in the meetings before anybody. Ben, and then the special teams. Everybody goes special teams. Usually there's a little bit of carryover because there's so many offensive, defensive guys on special teams that special teams is meeting by itself, and the quarterbacks are another one. I would see Ben, letting the offensive coordinator, hey, take the quarterback meeting today. Here's the plan. They know what they're going to talk about.
Right.
And I could see Ben just sitting in the special teams meeting, just letting these guys know that, hey, I'm
got to be better.
I might be the head coach in this, but this ain't acceptable. And I'm watching the tape. We're all watching. Nothing. I'll tell you what. Nothing motivates professional players on, I think, any sport. I'm speaking football now, more than money or peer pressure. And when you put that tape on and you sit in that room with all your teammates and the head coach is sitting there, and you put that kickoff return for a touchdown on and see guys hanging on blocks and not getting off block or the field goal, pick any of the plays. It doesn't matter. And the head coach is sitting there. I tell you what, it's not a comfortable room to be in.
And just out of fairness, we understand the Bears have been beaten up and they're moving guys up and they're moving people into starting roles. And there are people that are doing special teams jobs that maybe they're not as familiar with as they should be. It's hardly an excuse. And that is, though, one of the reasons that they struggled as much as they did.
Absolutely. No, they were, think of the blocked field goal, right? They block our field goal, but they get called for lining up off sides. So it's a first down. We get a touchdown. Rather than no points and them getting the football and the momentum, we get 7 off of it. So big momentum swing there, and we were fortunate. I mean, everything will be, and guys will be more coachable today because we won the game. If we lose that game because of the opening kickoff, I was sick. I said, Cincinnati just got beat by the Jets last week in the fourth quarter. These fans, you know why they came to the Bears game? To boo. That's what I'm thinking. And I said, all we got to do is score on the opening drive or stop them, and this will be a rout.
And instead, they immediately get a lead.
And their fans are standing up and they're taking the bags off their head. And they're cheering.
You let them in the game. And you're trailing at halftime because of all the special teams
of that,
moments.
no doubt about it.
Exactly.